Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is combine problems with discount and tax. And there's a caution here. We always have to find the discount sales price first and the tax second. Why is this necessary? I want you just to take a second and think about that. Why would we do that? Even if you want to pause the video and think about that. Why would we do this discount first and the tax second? The reason that we do that first, we have to find the sales price first because the discount is on the total before tax, not on the taxed total. And the tax only is on what you pay for the item. You don't get taxed on what the item should have cost. You get taxed on what you paid for the item. So we always have to find the sales price first and the tax second. It's just important that we do things in that order. A board game that costs $25 is on sale for 15% off. The sales tax is 6.25%. What is the total cost of the board game? All too often I see people want to do 15 minus 6.25 and say, oh, well, now I get 8.75% off. However, 15% off of the total is different than the percent off of the new cost. So, for example, if I started with $100 and I took 10% off, I would get to $90. But then to add 10% of $90 back on, because $90 is what I would have paid, I would only be adding 9. So that would get me to $99. That's not $100. So 10% off and then adding 10% of that isn't the same. So you can't just subtract. We have to find the sales price first, and we can use either method from over here. Like I said, I'm going to use method 2. So I'm going to find 15% off. That means that I paid 85 because 100 minus 15 is 85. So I paid 85%, so I'm going to find 85% of 25. And again, I'm just going to pull this over. 21 and 25 hundredths is the sales price. That's 85% of the total. And then sales tax, find and add the tax to get the total price. So again, if you use method 1, you're going to find the tax and then add it. If you use method 2, you're just going to figure out how much they pay total and then multiply by that percent. So I'm going to use the one-step method, method 2, and I'm going to say, well, 100% is what they're going to pay of this total, plus 6.25% equals 106.25%. So now I'm going to move my decimal, rewrite it as 1 and 625 10,000ths times the new cost, which again, 106.25% of $21.25 is different than what it would have been had we done this to $25. It changes. So I'm going to use my calculator, 1.0625 times 21.25. And when I do that, I get this big long number, 22.578125. But remember, we talked about dollar amounts. When we're talking about dollar amounts or sale amounts, we're always going to round to the nearest cent, which is in the hundredths place. So in this case, the 8 tells my 7 to come up, and I have $22.58. I add my label. Again, even though I used my calculator, you can see my steps, you can see my work, and see what I plugged into my calculator to figure out what my total was going to be. I also can always double check to make sure my answer makes sense. Does it make sense that $25 board game, 15% off, costs about $22.58 after tax? Sure, and so I know I'm close and good, and my answer seems reasonable.